Zlurpcast!
In the dungeon. A lot of things happen inside the dungeon. Both Down, the Bloodbowl podcast, was born out of Kilowog's dungeon. Dead cats, whatever, all that stuff going on there. Sometimes Bloodbowl belonged to the dungeon. You ask Biran, he says, yeah, chuck the box down the stairs and leave it in the goddamn dungeon. Mike says, no, we will play in this dungeon. So we're going to find out about Dungeonbowl. This episode's Zlurpcast. Biran with the skull cap. We've got Mike in the flannel who's played Dungeonbowl. Wait, we're speaking 1/3 educated about a topic. How dare you? And of course, Xtreme watching at home because he says, I can't deal with you people anymore. You just couldn't take us. It's like, that's fine. Take a week off. Take a week off. Especially, I mean, from Biran especially. We all need a break from Biran.
But we will not dock his pay. He will get paid as if he was on this episode.
Yes. Of course. Yeah, won't dock his pay. Unfortunately, Biran has to be around because he uploads the episode. He's like, I do the editing. What editing? You put the thing in the corner? So we talked about Bloodbowl for years on Zlurpcast, way back to 2009. And then we fell out of love with Bloodbowl. Biran was never in love with Bloodbowl. He didn't even have a one-night stand with Bloodbowl. He never even, Biran, is it safe to say you never even masturbated to the thought of Bloodbowl?
I do it to make myself last longer.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I edge
What if
with
there's like, see, Bloodbowl, I think needs a 4-minute timer. Also, I believe your masturbation sessions need a 4-minute timer as well. Just to get on with things, you know. But then recently we said, hey, what about Bloodbowl? And we just like started playing again, started carrying again, just in time for a new Bloodbowl release, which we talked about a few weeks ago, but also just in time for a long-awaited supplement, Dungeonbowl. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, Dungeonbowl in the past, was it like literally just like a White Dwarf article?
Yeah.
That's all it was, right?
For the most part, yeah.
And I remember I got the White Dwarf article, and inside it was like 2 end zones, and I just rip them out. And then like I wasn't careful when I ripped them, so I ruined the fucking end zone, I'm sure. Pulled it a little too much.
Like, could it have been at back of a cereal box game?
Could have been, totally. Yeah. And then the box is the dungeon. If you open it up, like you open the flap and then cut here for the doorways. I can see that. But Dungeonbowl for years, well, let me take a step back. It's been out now for a couple of months. I would argue that there's been more Dungeonbowl played in the last 2 months than the last 20 years. Because that was the game everyone talked about. Well, that'd be cool. We should play that. They never played. But now that it's out, like we say, when is Warpath out? Now that Dungeonbowl is out, people are playing it. Mike, would you agree that now it's not Bloodbowl level, but people are playing because there's a real game out?
Yeah.
It was always talked about. You know what we should do? We should get together, last game of the league, right? We'll have, the 2 teams that are in the final, they're going to play over there. We're going to do Dungeon. People do all that talking. You know, it's
like when people say they're going to play Necromunda, and they're like,
we're going to do a Necromunda campaign where, you got to visit the trading post 74 times. You eventually get that las cannon. Like, we're not going to do any of that. It's never going to happen. I'm going to lose 4 games in a row and stop showing up. So fuck your league, Dungeonbowl has now come out as a full game. It's like $150, I think. It's the rule book, nice hardcover, much like the Bloodbowl new rule book. Mike's got it there. It's got a plethora of board tiles and treasure chests and pits, traps and things like that, portals, I should say. And 2 teams. I say unnecessary, but I get why they're in there. It would be nice to get a cheaper version or just the rule book. But Michael, before we get into it, you think anyone bought Dungeonbowl that doesn't own Bloodbowl?
I can't imagine anyone doing that.
Yeah.
Because the core rules are basically the same, like the block rules and all that, right?
Yes. Yeah. They changed a couple of the skills, just tweaked them. and I followed a thread on the Talk Blood Bowl Facebook group, and I wasn't familiar enough with this stupid rule to know the change. So, but that's essentially the same.
It was like if they tweak armbar, you're not going to know the difference.
Yeah.
One of the new.
It was even less than that. So
yeah. So Dungeonbowl comes out. I have not bought it yet. I might. I would have loved to buy the rule book, but because I have my own dungeon board, and I'd rather play on a 3D board than the titles. But I might just say, fuck it. I'll just buy it one day and see who needs the other stuff. Inside the box, Mike, you got, what are the teams? Are they mixed race teams?
they're the 8 colleges. So they've got rules for what positionals are on each the college teams. It's the College of Fire, which is mostly dwarves and ogres, and the College of Shadow, which is mostly dark elves and Skaven.
Okay, so College of Shadow. So anyone watching who wants to consider merging their collection to make some teams, College of Shadows, you've got Dark Elf, Skaven, and Goblin, basically teaming up in some fashion. College of Fire has dwarves. By the way, it's dwarves, not dwarfs, right? What is it?
I think it's dwarf.
No, the V was created by Tolkien.
Isn't that like English though?
Dwarfs is English. It's Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. The word dwarves was created by Tolkien.
Predates Tolkien.
That sounds like a Mandela effect.
I just call them little shitties.
Yeah,
that's one of your things. And dwarfs.
Dwarfs is proper English, but America has adopted dwarves as the plural of dwarf. And
they're called little people, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm going to try really hard to say dwarfs and emphasize, like throw in extra dwarfs.
Because it's chorfs, not chores.
All right, well, let's get into it.
How would Cobra Commander say? Dwarf.
He'd say, dwarves, hogwash. You fools. I will say dwarfs. I will not say dwarfs. I will not
dwarfs,
say
yep, I don't
dwarfs
like the
and shorts. Not doing it.
Chorfs is the chaos dwarves, right? Is that what they're doing?
So to me, I get the joke. Let's say stuff wrong on purpose and make it a self-meme, whatever.
Robo Girly Man.
It's the same thing as the 40K ones, and I don't do those. So I'd be a hypocrite if I said chorfs are okay, but Rowboat Girly Man is not.
Right. Show some respect to the race.
Right. I'm bringing Abby with Robbie G, with Tiggy and Marnie, and some Termies and some Smurfs.
And some Sallies for support.
And some Sallies. What? Also, Smurfs? Because they're blue? What the fuck? That's the worst one. Because it's like, just because they're blue? I don't understand.
They're not even ultramarine blue anymore. They're McCrag blue.
Right. Maybe they change it on purpose as retaliatory. And we don't want to even be called ultramarine blue. College of Life, you have halflings, rotters in the same team as halflings.
Yeah, Nurgle's big on life.
Because of growth.
Yeah.
What's a stilty? What is that?
That's snotling.
Is that a halfling positioner or?
No, it's a snotling.
Oh, snotling. It was stilty run. I didn't even know that.
Oh, are they on stilts?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And wood elves, Mike?
Elves.
No, but is it F or V? Wood elves or wood elves?
It's AELFS.
No, forget about the A.
In non-copyright.
The A thing is a different argument. Is it V or is it F? Plural.
It's V. Because that's why Tolkien made dwarves, so it would match elves.
So, but proper English is dwarfs and elves.
Elves, yes.
Interesting. Okay. Learn something.
So would you say dwarvish or dwarfish?
Fish.
A good question. It would probably be dwarfish.
Dwarf fish?
Delicious.
Yeah.
That's a bullhead. A bullhead is.
I mean, Tolkien worked for Merriam-Webster, so he wrote the dictionary. So
well, he is a linguist by trade, right?
Yes.
He's a cunning linguist, I believe.
He's a cunning linguist, yes.
I bet you he's insufferable. and boring.
Eventually an analinguist as well.
When you get
Halfling
older, yeah.
Hefties and Wood Elves, College of Life, and Tree Men, and Fungus Flingas, and Fun Hoppas.
All
College of
snotlings.
Yeah, College
Yeah,
of
those
Light.
those mushroom head snotlings that do a lot of shrooms, right?
Yeah.
College of Light is Elven Union, Humans and Nobility. College of Heavens is Skinks, or Lizard Men and Human and Nobility. College of Beasts are Beastmen, Necromantic, just the werewolves.
Yeah, just the werewolves, yeah.
And then anything with fur, right? And chaos blockers. College of Death are all the undead guys all combined. College of Metal, Orcs, Nobility, Corn, Big Un. What's a Big Un?
The big one is you've got linemen, blitzers, runners, and biggins. So they're different categories. So like if you have dwarfs, you don't always get all the dwarfs. It's just certain positionals.
So a big Un is a big orc.
Well,
A big black orc.
I don't have the rules in front of me, but
Why
yeah,
is Biran making kiss face? What did I say?
I think it's the big guy, isn't it?
What's wrong? Big black orc. What's wrong with it? Why is that bad?
Yeah, it's the big guys.
I'm not saying it's bad or good.
You made a face.
I did.
Biggins is also Al Bundy's favorite magazine.
Yeah.
I got my copy of Biggins, Big. Let's go.
You're gonna be in the
No
band
doubt.
for a little while.
So you can build a team. Some of the teams some of your stock Blood Bowl teams you can use in Dungeonbowl. Not all of them, I don't think, but it looks like some of them you can, like dwarves, for example. But a lot of people are psyched to make these combination mixed race teams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you set up the dungeon. So if you were in its most basic form, Blood Bowl meets, Warhammer Quest for Keeping It Games Workshop. You have your teams. The ball is in the treasure chests. One of them, you got to get the ball. You want to run or hand off or throw short or quick passes, score a touchdown. When that happens, the game is over. Biran, you're going to like this. You can lose in 4 turns. You can win in 4 turns and go for 20 turns.
Ugh.
So I'm just saying, if you think Blood Bowl, the normal game, is like it's too long, this, depending on the dungeon, and I guess the luck of finding the ball, depends. We'll show you how quick of a game you could have. And then I guess the lore, these wizards are fighting, right? And they want to get in Blood Bowl and do their shit. And then the NAF's like, no, we're not going to do that because we barely tolerate wizards. One would say, can they coexist? And no, they can't. So we'll take it to the dungeon. We'll do our own shit down in the dungeon. And that's kind of what happens. Are the wizards building the teams, or are they teams that just found their way to the dungeon?
They're sponsoring the teams.
Okay. And so at that point, when someone scores a touchdown in Dungeonbowl, is the beef over? We've decided who won this argument.
Well, as much as wizards can decide an argument, they'll find something else to argue about.
Okay, that's it.
Like it could be a dwarf argument.
That could be. And all of a sudden, you know what? The team that loves dwarves wins. Like, all right, sir. From now on, tell everyone it's dwarves. The argument has been settled.
And because they started it by going up to one and saying, "What do you people call yourselves?" And they said, "What do you mean, you people?"
Yeah.
Let's
what
stay in
happened?
the dungeon.
And they held quite the grudge afterwards.
Yes.
Mike, tell me about when you're setting up Dungeonbowl. Does the rule book give you maps of sorts to say where everything goes?
It says you can make your own dungeon. It gives you 2 examples, which I'm sure a lot of people have used, those 2 examples.
Like demo game examples?
Well, there's 2 pictures in the book.
Okay.
Like, here's a dungeon, here's another dungeon. So when I set mine up, I didn't do it because I was on a table that was a coffee table. It was very long and narrow. So our dungeon was long and narrow.
Yeah.
It was more of a tunnel than a dungeon.
I'll never forget, no matter what table I'll play Space Hulk on, it's always too small. no matter what, even if it's a giant team, I'm like, oh, I didn't know they were all going to go this way.
Yeah.
Like I didn't pay attention first. So this one, Space Hulk is a weird example because you're sticking to the game for a reason. Dungeonbowl, would you say, Mike, it's like, well, fuck it. If it looks cool, do it. If you're both playing it, right? If it's,
Yeah.
I mean, are there like this layout is better for some teams? Is that
well, symmetry is nice. That way one team doesn't have an advantage over the other, but
like all the treasure chests are right next to where they're at.
Well, you take turns placing the treasure chests and placing the portals, so it's kind of on you. But
then do you roll for starting points after that? Like,
no,
what
you start in the end zone.
Well, I mean, if you had an asymmetrical one,
Yeah.
and I'm like, fuck it, no, I want that side.
You roll for that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously we always joke around about the lazy rule,
The plop rule, yeah.
Set up. I could see someone being a stickler in Dungeonbowl for not symmetrical, almost like I'm not playing Bloodbowl. I don't need it to be a field, a pitch, if you will.
You want an asymmetrical dungeon.
Right. I can see someone leaning into that, and then you roll off on there's a clear advantage at this point.
Well, it's still gonna be the same distance, your end zone to the opponent's end zone, and vice versa. So
Oh, okay. So it's not that bad. Is it like
yeah. You have to make it to the opponent's end zone. So your distance is the same as their distance, but
are there like doors you have to unlock to get in the way or anything?
the doors are open. They say there's no doors actually on, it's just archways. But you do have to open the chests. And again, they have 5 of them have bombs.
House rule, all the doors are now locked. Oh, and you don't know which ones are like magically locked and which ones you can bash down. You don't even know.
So if you're following the plop rule and some guy goes, well, I want to roll for sides, I'm like, if you get my side in this roll, I'm going to concede because I ain't moving.
Biran, would you ever just say, why don't we pick up the whole table and just spin that? Because you don't want to move.
Yeah.
Even though that's more work.
I would just say that just because I'd get out of playing then.
Yeah.
Like you could say, I'll help you lift that. You got that side? Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, bye.
Yeah, just walk away. Go grab a soda. Talk to Giuseppe
Mike,
instead.
You played Dungeonbowl, Katie, recently. How did that go? Give me the gameplay. How did it go? Like sort of I'm not like a bat rabbit, but like a gameplay. How did it go? And how did it go from a player standpoint?
Well, okay, so I know what Katie likes to play. And so I went with College of Fire for her because it's mostly dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
And I made her team. It was basically all dwarves, an ogre, and a Khorne berserker. And I played College of Shadow just because I want experience with that one because that's the other team that comes in the box set. So I figured more people would play that, and that's Dark Elves and Skaven for the most part. You're supposed to roll and randomly place the chests, or not randomly, but you get to place the chests and the portals. I just went ahead and set that up just so that would speed up the game because I don't think it really mattered. Then we explain the rules to her real quick, and then we start playing. Dwarves are definitely really good in this game. You'd think because they're slow that would be a detriment, but because of the tunnels, like a lot of the passageways are only too wide, the higher speed of the Skaven doesn't really matter.
Because they can't get by a block.
Yeah, you can't get by.
Would you say having tackle wedge in those corners is pretty useful?
Oh yeah, it was huge. Tackle was huge. So it was a bit of a mismatch, and things were not going well for me. And I got desperate at the end. So you try I'm gonna hop on a portal just to maybe get a little closer, and I lost one guy to the void, and I always ended up farther away. And
so portals are a random spot to show up, or
yeah, you roll a d6 and they're numbered 1 to 6. And so you start off with, you got your team, and you get to play 6 players to start with in the end zone. And then each turn you have the option to bring in another player randomly through a portal, and you have to roll which portal he comes in. And if there's already a model on that portal, you come in on that portal, and then whoever was there gets chained somewhere else. And so there's some randomness. It's actually kind of fun, but
yeah. So you have a guy on a portal. Is it almost would that sort of break the unwritten rule of like do the safe things first? Maybe you want to move that guy off the portal first.
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because if you roll a d6, if you're like on a portal 3 and you roll a 3, you're lost. It's called a magical mishap, and you're lost. You're out. You're safe if you're playing the league, but you're out of the game. So you've got a 1 in 6 chance of being removed.
House rule number 2: the model is lost.
Gotta smash it.
Yeah.
Smash it, or at least put it like locked away and throw away the key. If you can't.
Oh, you put it in a pot for the league, and the winner gets all those models.
Oh, that's a great idea. How about you bury it for future generations?
Yes.
There was a Bloodbowl league. These guys were insane. It was on 79th in Harlem. So this is real South Side guys. And they played this league where they had a hammer. And if your player died, the opponent got to take your model and smash it with the hammer. And they had displays of all the destroyed models.
I vaguely remember you telling me this.
Yeah.
I would not spend a lot of time painting my models.
No.
That's rough. Well, I told you about my friend Bobby. He dropped the model off the top in the Dixie cup. He's alive. And if he falls out, he's dead. It's like, but I just glued a fucking cell cannon on his head. It's going to break off. And you lose the weapon. So that's, when you're playing this, Mike, is it still the Blood Bowl mechanics of I do my whole turn and then a turnover will stop it?
Yep. Yeah.
Nothing changes from a Blood Bowl mechanic except for the portals and chests. Right?
Yeah.
The
There's a couple of
is a teleportation mishap considered a turnover?
No, we had to look that up, and it's clearly in the rules. It's not a turnover. I was actually surprised.
Could you have the ball tell it and get mishapped?
No, that's also in the rules. The ball cannot do that. If that happens, it just bounces from that portal.
So the ball has like a field on it.
There's a spell on it to prevent that because,
Okay.
And if you're carrying the ball and you have a mishap, the player is lost. The ball just bounces. So,
house rule: you lose a player in the mishap, the player's gone for good. The model's gone. You have to swallow the ball as the coach, and then wait a day or whenever
it scatters when it comes out of your butthole.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
yeah. It's scattered. You
got to shit on the board.
Yeah, shit on the board and dig it out. Yeah,
just like Dreadball. I got to have Mike tell me where it actually landed.
Mike, I scattered into a wall. I need your help.
Mike, which square is it in? You got to get in there, man. You got to get close. So in this game, Mike, how many turns did it last, roughly?
As many as it takes.
No, your game with Katie. Sorry.
Probably 8 or 9.
Do you actually track it or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
The only thing you track are your rerolls. So.
And you don't track score because it's the first to score.
1-0. Yeah, that's why like some of these tournament rules I was looking. They're like tiebreakers, most touchdowns. Well,
that'd be the most wins.
Yeah, it'd be number of wins. So.
When you fall down, is it like street ball with like cobblestones or?
No. But again, they do have like the street ball with the walls. So if you're pushed into a wall, you got to it's a 4 to 6. You're actually knocked down with the armor roll and all that. So.
Oh, okay. So pushed into a wall. Does it have to be the only available square, or I can choose?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it follows the normal Blood Bowl.
I would imagine though, with if you said there's kind of tight corridors, like too wide.
Yeah.
It's easy to get somebody into a wall.
Yeah.
That's probably why they make an automatic armor roll, because otherwise all your guys would be dead quick.
Is there's a rule in the new Blood Bowl? Like I was just thinking, could I just clog up a corridor? Can you jump over somebody now?
Yes, if they're prone.
Oh, okay. So you might. Okay.
Yeah.
So the whole
prone
idea
or supine.
Supine, yes. Or prone if they are.
If they're prone as well.
Stunned.
So in this game, Mike, did anybody pass at all?
No, God no.
So it's just like Blood Bowl then.
Yeah,
right?
it's got you can actually bounce the ball off the walls, but it's way too complicated to. Your odds of actually having that work are slim to none. So
It sounds like something you would pull to win, though.
I know. I was trying.
Is there a ball scatter against the walls too?
Yes, and we actually had a big, because there's a couple of things that aren't really covered in the rules. Like if you carry the ball and I push you and I knock you back and knock you down, and the ball scatters and it hits the wall. I think it could have a better example, or FAQ'd it, because you've got a 1 in 3 chance of it actually landing on the square where the guy is prone or supine, and then it's going to bounce again, and it's some weirdness. And like if you are pushed into a portal, you will teleport. But if you are knocked down while you're straight down while you're on a portal, it's unclear if you're teleported or not. So
I'm thinking if you get pushed because you're moving into.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how we interpret it, is that because it says moved into, but
I would lean towards any time you think you might get in a portal, you are.
Yeah, I would think that it was more fun to teleport. Right. And we also had the question of, if you're on a portal, do you have to leave and then come back to try to teleport again?
Yeah.
Or can you just kind of jump and then teleport? And so, which I don't think you can, but
that's good. That's a good question. Yeah.
Like keep trying to get into a better position.
Well, there's a rule too that if you teleport more than once per turn, you'd have to you take an armor roll. So that's bad. But again, if you port in one turn and you're way out in the middle of nowhere, do you have to get off and get back on to so
house rule. You teleport more than once in one turn, same guy, you have to cut the model in half, and half is in one portal, half is in the other.
Yeah.
Your skills get one worse, but there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
There's 2 other. It's like a blue horror.
Yeah, horror becomes just
pink,
like
or vice versa, pink horror into a blue horror. They're not prostitutes, I was told once. So I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Mike, this game of Dungeonbowl, I'm sure it was fun. Right?
Yeah.
Fun?
Oh yeah. And they have special rules. Each tile has, like, there's a sewer, there's a kitchen, there's a chaos idol. So there's special rules for each room, which we didn't use because it's
still learning
an extra layer. But yeah.
Would you say that, people are talking about running tournaments and this and that? It's probably easier to do a Dungeonbowl tournament than a Dungeonbowl league.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, just like it's easier to have a Bloodbowl tournament than a Bloodbowl league. So,
but everybody begs for Bloodbowl leagues. Yeah. Another thing where people are like, I really want a league. Like, do you though? Do you want to show up every week?
Here's half your journeyman. Suck it up.
Yeah, like me in the Fumble League right now, where I haven't had a full team ever since turn 1, game 1.
Your team was at its best in the very first game.
Yeah. Tournament, it seems like, again, a lot of people prefer leagues in Blood Bowl. I just wonder if Dungeonbowl, if people will get that out of the mindset, and almost because people will shit on the idea of a one-off Blood Bowl. But I've seen that people are like, a one-off Blood Bowl game's stupid. Like,
because there's some sort of progression system that I'm missing out on.
Is there, Mike?
It's just like Blood Bowl.
But I just, you know what I mean? Like, if we were to play 40K or Legion or Marvel Crisis, any of these games we talk about, all you play are one-off games. But for some reason, when people talk about a one-off Blood Bowl game, they're like, oh, that's dumb. But it seems like those same people who would say that probably wouldn't have a problem with a one-off Dungeonbowl.
Yeah.
Because
I think this works out well as a one-off game because it's fun, but I don't want to play this every week,
Is it too chaotic?
I like that, but I don't know.
The setup's a little more involved.
Yeah. But I guess, but like I said, it's fun. It actually has that you don't take it as seriously. So in that sense, a lot of people might like it more because it is so chaotic, but
yeah, I think, I think I'd like to try Dungeonbowl, but it's hard to say if it's ever going to be would you consider it a main game?
No. I think it's
No.
more of a side game. Like you said, the people that are in the playoffs for your league are playing Blood Bowl. The people that aren't are having fun playing Dungeon Bowl.
Like, do you see someone who does not like Blood Bowl liking Dungeon Bowl?
Yeah, I can see that just because it is a little sillier.
And Dumb Luck can win more often
And
than
Dumb
it
Luck
does in Blood
yeah,
Bowl.
because if you find that ball, well, if you find the ball with right off the bat, you might have an advantage. But so depends on the layout of the dungeon too, because if you got to go through that choke point, it can be hard. So yeah, because Katie, when we played, I opened 3 chests that had bombs in it, and that sucked. And then she opens 1 chest, and the ball. So
is it a die roll when you open a chest, or is it predetermined by
the actual model? How it works now is there's 6 chests, and they have replaceable lids, so in case one of the lids gets marked somehow. But the actual chest itself, one of them has the ball inside of it. The other 5 have gold.
So you could cheat. You could be like a little infrared thing, and it's right there.
Isn't there a variant where you're playing with multiple balls?
That was what did he call that video?
Oh, he made that up?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought that was in the rule book.
No, he made that up.
Okay, so that's like a multiplayer variant.
Yeah. Well, you can play if you Dungeonbowl, you can play it with 3 teams or 4 teams.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you got 3, you can get to either end zone, or you have a specified end zone to get to, and with 4, it's the cross. But
do assists do anything different with three players?
I don't know. I didn't read that wasn't going to be an issue. So
like every other game like that, like head-to-head game seems really shitty 3 players, but Dungeon Bowl I could see working.
Yeah, I think you would do the thing like we used to do. What was that called with the cross? Death Bowl.
Death Bowl.
Yeah, where you have to declare the block, and if there's an assist, the person has to, after you declare, they have to say who they're assisting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is the who you're helping. We did that with Super Show too, didn't we? With like was that the cage or
the
Royal Rumble, wasn't it?
Royal Rumble, yeah.
Royal Rumble. Throwing so are you helping him? No. Yeah, I think house rule on that one. You would declare, are you assisting? No, I'm blocking your assist instead. Or you got 2 of your own guys, and I'm like, he's helping, but he's stopping. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm Switzerland.
Yes. So you mentioned that you wouldn't want to play this every week. What would be the reason?
I think it's part of its appeal is it's different, but if you play it every week, it then loses some of that uniqueness. So
it's like a delicious chocolate sundae. You don't want to eat it all the time.
You don't want to eat it every day. Yeah, you want it to be special.
You want to give it a try, and then reminisce about how good it was the time we played, but not too much.
When we played Dungeon Bowl.
Oh. Yeah. Mike, could you see Dungeon Bowl being played like after a Blood Bowl tournament where everyone just wants to get drunk and fuck around?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
So is it a beer and or pretzels or Chex Mix?
But not pretzel rolls, because Mike doesn't like those.
Not pretzel rolls.
I don't like pretzels either.
Oh, really?
Oh God, no.
And you don't really drink beer either, right?
No.
So beer or pretzels, get the fuck out of here with that. You don't want that.
I really don't even like when I'm drinking. I don't like to eat when I drink.
No, I'm the same way. I can't do. I have either or.
It makes the food taste bad. It makes the booze taste bad. So
it makes the booze not work as well.
Mike, how do you feel about ampersands? Because right now, beer and pretzels are both out. What about the actual linking punctuation?
Oh, ampersands.
Ampersand.
Yeah.
I don't like that either. Whole phrase. I'll have to come up with a new phrase.
I know what an octothorpe is, though. So
what is that?
Maybe it's a patty melt.
Yeah.
Is it a patty melt and Diet Coke game?
Yes, for sure. Because then you get the bill shits later.
Yeah.
Is it a Reuben and a Diet Right?
A Reuben.
Diet Right.
I love that the prize for the Reuben Bowl was a Reuben.
Yeah. And when he fed it to me, I could feel his tongue.
It was so disgusting.
And
I didn't win.
Lick those beef lips.
Yeah. So, Mike, what are your plans for? I mean, you've committed to running Dungeonbowl.
Yes.
At Adepticon.
It is your favorite game of all time.
Was that foolish now or what?
I mean, I was at an Adepticon staff meeting and they're talking about Dungeonbowl. And they're like, you should run that. And people were on the chat, like one-on-one chatting to you should run. Everyone's like, you should run that. None of those people are going to actually be in the tournament. But so I'm like, screw it. Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Same room?
I don't know.
I hope so.
Are you doing
that? Would be cool.
So Jeffro wants to do like at the end of his tournament next month, the final game or some like 4-team Dungeonbowl. Were you thinking straight up one-on-ones?
Yeah, one-on. Well, it depends how many. Because I told Hank, I said, hey, we need to do this, but we're kind of limited on pitches. I can maybe have access because I have one. Chris Hunt's got one, and Jeffro's got one. So that's 3. But if we want to have 12 people, we would need 6. So
but I think Adepticon has 3 commas in their budget right now. You know what I mean?
Well, he's also got. Well, I'll talk to GW. What do we need? And so the question is, well, because I know Hank's got a set.
Well, there's a lot of third-party cardboard dungeon tiles.
Yeah.
Too. I don't know if size
I've got a whole. Because they used to come out with that for D&D back in 4th edition, and I've got a ton of those. But
well, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. How many people actually sign up and show up?
Is it going to be Mike and Katie playing with each other, and that's it?
It will not be Katie.
Oh.
No, Biran will be there goofing on whoever.
Yes.
The fucking peanut gallery, but
we'll see. But hey, there's a medal to be had. So if there's 4 people, you got a 1 in 4 chance of winning that medal.
I'm going to try to show up too. So I'll most likely be there.
It is on Friday.
Yeah. Because I'll probably be coming in on Friday. So
Let me check my schedule. Yeah, I have no events on Friday.
We're going to do an Adepticon preview episode too. But, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Mike, would you have bought Dungeonbowl if you didn't commit to running it?
I said no.
You probably would have eventually.
I probably would have eventually, yeah.
Like
I don't know if Ragnar sold out or not, to be honest with you.
I don't know if he ordered.
I said
heavy.
no too, but
you ordered 3, and I know
bet
Chris
sold
bought
out.
one and Jeffro bought one.
Yeah,
and I think I bought the other one, so I guess they sold out.
I was hoping if he ordered a lot of them, then they'd end up at the 50% off table at Adepticon.
Is there anybody, Mike, that doesn't like Bloodbowl that would like Dungeonbowl? Do you think, or do you think it's like if you're sour on the gameplay and style and theme of Bloodbowl, you have no business playing Dungeonbowl?
Well, I think there's
not you, Biran.
No, I will say this: I am more likely to be interested in playing Dungeonbowl than Bloodbowl.
Yeah, because there's a lot less known about it, and the pitch is different every time. Yeah. So your strategies are.
You ain't making no cage in that narrow hallway.
Or how about you better kick it to the safe square? Fuck that. I never kick it to the safe square. Never.
Really? I always ask Mike, what's the safe square? That's where I want to kick it.
Never. Yeah. Because everyone does it. And then people do I got to position guys for the 1-turn score. Dungeonbowl, you don't have to worry about that shit. There's no 1-turn score. No. Although there can be. If you play in a dungeon that's just it's like, a really shitty miniature golf course.
With a portal, could you? I think you could with a portal, right?
No, you can't, because you can't have a portal in the portal or chest in the tile adjacent to the dugout. So at the very least, it would probably take you 3 turns.
Yeah.
Because once you get the ball,
how many players do you need to have a full team in Dungeonbowl?
You need a minimum of 11, like any other Blood Bowl game, and up to 6. And you could theoretically, like Katie had all 13 players on the pitch, so the dungeon.
Okay, great point. So you could have more than 11. Is not governed. There's no refs. Can you foul without penalty?
No, you get ejected as normal.
Oh, that's
because the magicians are keeping the peace.
Yeah, there's the eye in the sky, like in Dungeonbowl.
House rule. fouling is legal. It's in the fucking dungeon. They went to the dungeon to live their own lifestyle away from the public.
I would make a custom positional called the Goon, and he's the only one that can foul, but he's really good at it.
He's really good at it. I mean, listen, if left to my own devices, I'd have 1,000 fucking house rules. You know, I was thinking earlier, Mike, when you mentioned about the ball, the portal, what if there was like a skill that was like more sure hands, where even when I'm knocked down, I keep the ball. You got to injure me to make me lose that ball. And you just kick the shit out of that guy.
I only turn over the ball when I'm dead.
When I'm fucking dead, when you pry it out of my
dead hands.
You can call it beast mode.
Yeah. Or if I'm stunned, I'm like, whoops, ground cause a fumble. Oops, you know. But I think, do you think Dungeonbowl would have it more? I mean, I don't want to say popularity, because it's got, to me, it's more popular now because there's a release in the last few months than ever before. But do you think this is going to just fade away in the next 6 months or a year?
Yeah.
I think it'll stay as a bonus game for Blood Bowl
Yeah.
games, is what it will do.
People that bought it, like, was it at Xtreme that was saying everyone's having buyer's remorse because they spent $180 on this box that now they need to play it to feel like they're getting their use out of it. But I think eventually it's going to end up on the
I had
shelf.
remorse every time I bought a miniature box game for $180.
I
I
mean,
killed myself a long time ago.
If you look at, I mean, the list, so Dungeonbowl, okay, this is a list of big GW boxes in the last few years that are not the main game. Dungeonbowl, okay. You've got Kill Team, the new one, very expensive. I don't see it as popular as I thought it was going to be. Everyone was talking about it's going to be the big thing.
No one's playing it now.
No.
I haven't seen it. Necromunda, Shadow War, the Orc Speed Freaks,
Silver Tower and all the
Silver
offshoots of
Tower.
that.
Yeah,
Blackstone Fortress.
you know, anything that's not the main game is going to potentially have the sit on the shelf. You
Like
know.
the one that they should release that they should probably keep in perpetuity, I think, is Space Hulk.
Well, it's not a side, it's not a expansion or
Right.
I don't want to use the word expansion. It's not derivative of it. It's nothing to do with 40K.
Right.
except
It's
for
a
the
complete
fucking
standalone.
models. It's
But it's
you
it's
know-
the one they don't keep in print.
Kill Team and Necromunda, to an extent, even though Necromunda is based on old shit, Kill Team's got new rules. It's still, in a way, 40K.
It's still 40K. Yeah.
I get it. It's different rules. I'm not saying it's not, but Space Hulk is a 100% different game. I mean, there's nothing, those guns don't do that, what they do in that game in the other game. I wonder if Dungeonbowl, I wonder if I need to buy it or else never get it again. Is that, Mike, do you think that's potential? I better get it in the next few months or else I'll never get it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd reprint something like that.
I don't think so. I don't see them coming out with the rule book by itself either.
No.
And you don't need special dice or anything like that. Just your
No,
standard
it's the same
Blood Bowl
block.
dice, right?
And actually, the block dice, they have retooled the block dice, so they're easier to read, I think. So.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So they got different images on them?
No, they're same images, but they're clearer because some of those look like the original.
The team specific ones, some are bad.
Yeah, some are
Oh.
just illegible, but these Katie really liked the orange ones. They're kind of translucent orange, and the
Okay.
purple ones are.
I still like the NAF dice.
Oh God, yeah, those are by far the best.
I mean,
I think these were the Underworld team.
yeah.
Maybe.
No, that's the the necromantic undead
Yeah.
Oh, because they're like Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween themed. Yeah.
So I will
Halloween
say
is-
this: I'll try a demo with Mike.
All right.
Okay, I like the sound of that. Can you bring weapons, Mike?
I mean, I didn't look.
Like, so because weapons are goblins and stars only, right?
For the most part.
So can you bring stars?
No,
Okay.
I don't know if the goblin players, if they have the chainsaw guy.
Yeah, I don't know if
Can you have the pump
Well,
wagon?
they got bombardiers, so yeah.
Pump wagon.
I believe Pump Wagon was your nickname at Western, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Aaron?
It was the solo pump wagon though.
Solo Pump Wagon. Can you play Dungeonbowl solo, Mike?
If you're sad.
Oh,
It's the best solo game and party game.
it's like I scored 1 touchdown on myself. Oh, I've wasted my life. Well,
You can bring an ogre runt punter. Say that one 10 times fast.
A cunt punter?
Runt
Cunt
punter.
puncher.
A
I
cunt
bet you people
puncher?
call it a cunt puncher.
Yeah, I would.
Who wouldn't?
So I think that Dungeonbowl is not going to be a must-have purchase for anyone who likes Blood Bowl. But to me, if you're the kind of person that shows up to Blood Bowl tournaments and leagues, there to have a good time, you're just having a blast, you probably want to get Dungeonbowl and you're probably going to enjoy it. Not all hardcore Blood Bowl players probably care about Dungeonbowl.
No,
right?
no.
Because there's people out there, Mike, right, that they treat Blood Bowl like chess.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which is weird to me because there's dice and there's matchups. But they don't have that in chess. But they treat it like that, as like so serious in that regard. But I'm not in that group, so I think I would like Dungeon.
I'm not there either.
No, you're definitely not.
No.
So I might pick that up. I think I got scared off because of the not the price point. I'm not a poor, but it's just like, oh, am I going to play it? I just want the book.
But how many
It's never
times
gonna
do you
come.
think of that? Like, oh, we'll play this, and you end up not playing it. So at least you're going in knowing you're not going to play it very much.
I will say this too. The teams that are, you get 1 sprue of like dwarves, 1 sprue of the ogres. I think they retooled the sprues. Don't quote me on this, but I think they retooled them to make them more push fit and make them a little friendlier to put together.
Oh, nice.
Because that dark elf
The
team,
worst.
The
original
one that
one,
came with Blitzbowl was terrible. It's the
Yeah,
same.
the
sprue.
one, same sprue. Yeah, that's the worst one.
yeah, but they look simpler. Now again, I haven't put together the ogre team but just look at the dark elf sprue. I'm like, that wasn't like that before. There were 14 pieces on that blitzer. And
what you're saying is the dark elves or elves that are on that sprue right now in the box, you could push fit them together.
or at the very least, they have far fewer pieces.
You don't
just
have
looks
like
that way.
individual spines.
Yeah, they don't have the individual spines to glue on, and
Yeah.
It's
that
like
was
they had
it.
Crisis Protocol guys design those sprues.
yeah.
Yeah.
The witch elf, I think she has her thumb attached. It's not a separate piece.
Yeah.
Separate
yeah.
thumbnail too. For
The,
each
the witch
finger.
elf had the hand with the heart in it. That's going to end up in the carpet. And like you said, Biran, it's like Iron Man's hand is like 5 finger pieces.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I still think the worst kit is the old metal Kenry team. That was the
Oh,
worst
that was
because it was metal. And even the worst plastic kit ever is still better than the worst metal kit.
yeah. I've heard
But there's-
rumors that that was supposed to be plastic and they made it metal.
Oh,
And
so
see
they
that.
didn't take that into the material into account when they designed it. Then, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
or I don't know, but that could just be internet rumor. But
Yeah.
it was awful. That was terrible.
Yeah, that was a bad one. Dean put his together and he was like, it was almost like hot glue level, like caking on the fucking glue. So they
Yeah.
stuck together.
Well, they always say, use just the littlest amount of super. No,
No,
you need to squeeze a whole bottle on that joint.
I want more.
you do a little of the accelerant just to get the stick, and then you just
Yeah.
bury it in glue.
Yeah. So anything else on Dungeonbowl? I mean, playability, it's obviously Blood Bowl with those other tweaks that
Yeah.
we mentioned there. Multiplayer seems like it'll play pretty well. Tournament resetting will be no issue. Leagues,
No, no.
obviously, if you like that aspect of building up a team, sure, you could do it. I don't know how often someone's going to show up.
But I think being able to mix and match races like that could be a lot nice, fun change of pace for people.
It's a different change of pace, yeah. And
Do you see people using the Dungeon Bowl team list in a Blood Bowl league?
That would be kind of fun.
that would be
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Just like a fuck it,
Yeah, fuck it.
They've already put together the list, so there's
We're embracing diversity in Blood Bowl.
right.
And
There's
I don't know if they don't have tiers, but I'm sure they're not balanced.
well, I was gonna say I don't want to use the word play testing. That's a bad word, but it's in a rule book somewhere. I see the mixed race teams, so that could be enough impetus or impotence. What's the word?
Impotence.
It could be enough of impotence for someone to use that team and say, hey, it's in a book from Games Workshop. That's enough for me. Let's fucking do it.
Well, in that necromantic team that got the dice for it kind of does that a little bit, doesn't it?
I mean, necromantic has enough, variance in there, but I mean like a mixing like, humans and elves and whatever.
That's not, and also these hardcore Blood Bowlers have, more than a dozen teams. I think it'd be fun. They already have stuff to mix and match with.
More than a dozen.
Well, I'm saying a casual fan. I have 2 fully painted teams. And I hate Blood Bowl.
Hardcore Blood Bowl players, it's a badge of honor of how many of each race team you have.
This is my 6th halfling team.
Here's my Grebo team. Here's my Roll Jordan team. They're naming them by manufacturer.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no shortage of models. I don't know. I think it's gonna be fun. I'm going to Jeffro's tournament. Mike, you're going to that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be there.
You're gonna be there. Cool. So we'll give it a try. Yeah, kibitzing.
But Jeffro's, I think, is going. You have to bring you're going to have your team there. It's not going to be a mixed race team, right?
I believe he's going to let people. Well, no, I don't know. Good question.
Yeah, I was just like, well, it's got to be your own team, otherwise. Yeah, I don't know.
And it makes sense because it's the Winter Wizard Bowl, right?
Yeah,
so it's wizard focused.
And there's special racial spells anyway. So
if it was me running that one, I probably would have picked. Like Jeffro was very hyped to do Dungeonbowl. Like he's super into. He's building his own board, super into it. I probably just would have said, "Fuck it, make it a Dungeonbowl tournament." Period. Not do Blood Bowl then Dungeonbowl. Because why not? It's.
Or I would do game 1 is in the pitch. Game 2's in the dungeon.
Well, that's what he's doing. He's doing 1 and 2 on the pitch and 3 in the dungeon.
Okay.
2 in the poo, 1 in the goo.
Speaking of which, I have a code brown.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
Like and subscribe.
Do you want to end it now or?
Can we end it now? Okay. Ratings.
No,
Mike. How many Zlurpees?
I'll give it 4.
Okay, I go 3.5. Biran.
4.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Like and subscribe.
Zlurpcast! Brought to you by Zomboy. Eat flesh.